now there are laws, 4 of them quite controversial in nature. Because of time, we wouldn't be able to walk through how we got here. But then this is where we are. Even while we are still talking about the commencement, there are issues about allegations of alterations. You know, a version that was harmonized by the National Assembly and the gazetted version as well, in which investigation we learned is on, at the National Assembly level, excuse me. And of course, there is even at an intervention of the Nigerian Senate saying let it be gazetted. But Nigerians are saying it's more than that. You can't just talk about issue of allegation of alteration of a Nigerian law or Nigerian laws. Uh, it should be really investigated. The Nigerian Bar Association has even talked about let the commencement be halted. Let it be stopped for now. Let's get through with these alterations. But the federal government has said, other things can follow. The commencement is today, 1st of January 2026. And in fact, a court has approved, endorsed that particular move again while it struck out a case instituted by some persons, meaning it is official, it has started, and you need to find your way around these laws. In fact, that is the main reason why we're here, public enlightenment and public engagement, how to handle your business as an individual, as an earner, as a civil servant, as a private business owner, as an artisan, as a petty trader, as a big man, the way they say it in Nigeria, big business owners, all of those persons, as a charity organization, everybody, you have something, to gain this morning in this conversation. But in all of that, the President Bola Tinubu has spoken to Nigerians, in his New Year message. He has hailed, the gains, he has made by his policies through the economic gains, actually, and he has pledged deeper reforms and security push, all of those in his New Year message. Let me quote part of what Mr. President has said in that New message. It says substantial buffer against, okay, let me take this from this statement. Tinubu pointed to strong performance in the capital market and noting that the Nigerian Stock Exchange posted a gain of 48.12% in 2025, extending a bullish run that began in the second half of 2023. On external buffers, the president said Nigeria's foreign reserves stood at $45.4 billion as of 29th of December 2025, and many things that he hinted at. But now, and he is wishing all Nigerians a peaceful, productive, and prosperous new year. And may God continue to bless and protect our beloved country. Right now, these are some of the excerpts of what the president said. But let's come back to the conversation about these tax laws. In fact, the Joint Revenue Board, released a statement, and if we can have it, on the screen, Nigerian Tax ID portal goes live effective January 1, and they have detailed how, in fact, what is the tax ID, how do you generate one, and all of those things. But we have with us a tax expert, and of course, somebody who we've had severally on this program on this topic, and of course, he's here in our studios, Dr. Adegbite Ademikora. He's here with us. Good morning, sir. Happy New Year.
Good morning. Happy New Year to you.
Happy 2026.
Happy 2026 to you too, and Happy New Year to our viewers all over the world.
Thank you very much. And we are back again to talk about this, because is it going to hold? Is it going to be suspended? Can we stop it? Can we pause it? It is live right now. It's official. We are being guided by these laws right now. And that's why Nigerians deserve to know how to handle their business, whatever, whoever they are, irrespective of their status or their state of earnings right now. Let's start from here. We talk about the prospects, the pros, the cons of these particular laws, and it's been a long time coming, and here we are right now. It's one thing. Let's start from tax laws. Why should anybody pay tax? Actually, let's start from there.
Good morning once again, and Happy New Year to our viewers once again. Laws, taxes all over the world is a matter of law. It's a matter of law. It is a civic responsibility of any citizen to pay tax. So it is non-negotiable.
Right.
I used to tell people most times, they will say, we have not seen the impact of what we have been paying in the past. Why should we pay now? But that's another issue entirely. But the truth about the matter is that taxes is a major component of the Constitution. There is no way a government will be able to finance public institutions without our citizens paying taxes. So when you look at the Constitution and you go to Section 24 of the 1999 Constitution, it is enshrined in that particular section that every Nigerian citizens must come out, declare your income honestly, and pay taxes over it to relevant tax agencies. So for you to be a good citizen of Nigeria or of any country for that matter, you must be able to pay your taxes. How you pay it, where you will pay it, and what are the necessary issues surrounding the payment of taxes is left for the tax agency to do. And that is why this law is coming up. We've had several laws in the past, okay? And there are tax itself sits on a tripod. There must be tax policies, there must be tax laws, and there must be tax administration. Once those three things are present, and those three things must be present before taxes could be collected in any given country. And so we've had laws in the past, but it's just unfortunate that now some of those laws are obsolete. In all honesty, some of those laws are obsolete. So we need to overhaul, we need to harmonize, we need to even fold some of those taxes and bring them into a manageable number. And that is the reason why now we're having a brand new tax laws that is taking effect today. And like you rightly said, there were so many opposition to the introduction of the new laws or implementation of new laws, but the court in Abuja spoke about it yesterday, struck the what do you call it, the suit trying to stop the implementation, struck it out yesterday. And so it is now clear that the law has taken effect today. Wow. And all what we need to do as citizens is to embrace these laws. Yes, I believe there is no perfection anywhere. There could be one or two issues, but we need to sit down, identify those issues, raise it, then allow the executive or the legislature to work on those things. But as it is today, a new tax law has taken effect in Nigeria.
Well, you did say that we've had tax laws in the past, and I'd like to ask, what exactly, or what in particular, are the problems that these tax laws are trying to fix? I mean, what exactly are these new tax laws supposed to fix? Are they compliance gaps, low tax base, or is it fiscal deficits or revenue generation and all of that? What exactly are these new tax laws for?
For us, tax experts, we have gone through the laws, we have discussed on various occasions, and we've exchanged notes, and we found out that, look, these tax reforms now that we have, the new one that we have now, is trying to straighten some inadequacies in our tax laws. The tax framework in Nigeria is so weak, is so inefficient that those who are earning low income in Nigeria, they are being taxed on several fronts. And there is need for us to harmonize those taxes. For instance, now, you see a pure water seller in the market paying more taxes than somebody who is a millionaire. It will surprise you. The level of evasion, because of the previous law that we have, is so high. And so this new laws is going to address that, and that will be perfectly addressed. Also, the introduction of technology in these new laws is so pronounced, and I can assure you that now tracking of income, assessment of income, and advice of what we pay will be easier now, because when you introduce technology into most of the things that we do, we find out that it's so easy, and you can do better in collection. Now, what this law is also trying to do to address is that it's better for us to have maybe 5 laws. I mean, 5 different kind of taxes than for you to have multiplicity of taxes, like you have 30 taxes. When you have 30 taxes, how do you want to, collect those taxes? Is it going to be efficient? But when you have a manageable number, then it's going to be better. Look at it, for instance, there's a particular one we call development levy in the new tax reforms. What that is saying is that, look, you get to pay 4%, and that 4% will include payment to the police trust fund, education trust fund, NASENE is National Engineering Institute, sort of. All those funds are now combined together. You pay 4%. But before now, you have to pay 3% third fund, education tax before, separately. You will pay NASENE separately. You pay police trust fund separately. All these things has been bundled into one. And so what you need to do is just pay that, and nobody will just come, you won't see tax agencies coming from left, right, and center to trouble you. Not only that, the low-income earners have been exempted from certain form of taxes, like the development levy I've just spoken about. If your turnover is less than 100 million, for instance, you are not going to pay. So also, the personal income tax payer, they also have been exempted. You have 800,000 naira tax exempt from your annual gross income, which is just an offshoot of the minimum wage that they pay now at the federal level, which is 70,000 naira. So for those who are on 70,000 naira threshold, they will be exempted. All these things were not properly addressed in the past. When you look at the stamp duty now, for instance, the last law governing stamp duty was enacted in 1939. And since 1939, no laws have been enacted to address stamp duty. Tell me, Ajijola Oluwa, tell me, are you saying that the laws of 1939 should continue to drive whatever we do in the tax space today in Nigeria? So all these are some of the things that the new tax laws have come to address.
Well, from different quarters, we're still having rebuttals. We're still having opposing statements coming about the tax laws. The point would be, are there hidden parts of these tax laws that these people are privy to, the Nigerians may not see? And that brings us back to the point of the harmonized tax laws, the gazetted ones, and the issues surrounding it. Are there things that you're privy to that we Nigerians do not know? And at the end of the day, what we are made to accept will eventually become a problem to us.
Well, definitely that shouldn't be a problem. And you know that Nigeria is a very big country full of educated people. They want to probe, they want to investigate whatever the government is rolling out, so that they will not be caught unaware when they begin to, embrace that law. For me, I don't see any reason for us to be afraid of these new tax laws. Yes, in the past few days, we've heard that there were some alterations. How substantial the alterations were, nobody has able to come out and say, oh, it's so substantial that, look, this law must be stopped. What we only, in fact, it will surprise you. Most people that are, shouting today that the laws must be stopped, we shouldn't go ahead again, ask them to give you maybe 3 points of those alterations, and you'll be surprised that some of them don't even know what those alterations are.
Well, many people are not privy to exactly what it is. Apart from the rules that was raised.
So if you are not privy, for instance, you are accusing me now that I have dollars in my pocket. How did you know that I have dollars in my pocket?
It was a member
some people
of the House of
yes.
Reps, somebody who sat and worked on the matter that raised, that concern. And after that, other members have, alluded to that fact. And again, there are some, documents in the public space that talked about those alterations. The issue of having so much powers by the tax, guys to impose fines and to arbitrarily, without even getting to the court, to do and undo with you and your business is one part that many persons are frowning at, because that's a part that is, okay, instead of resorting to the court to handle some matters, maybe that alteration has given power to the taxman to tax you whenever and however he deems fit. These are some of those things.
Yes, you are right. I'm not trying to I'm not trying to disregard the so-called alterations. No, I'm not going to do that. And I'm not the spokesperson for either for the Fiscal Policy Committee or for the federal government. I'm not saying that. I'm only trying to look at it from the perspective of what we need to do as a country. And I said that, look, there is no perfection anywhere. Let us agree. If there are one or two alterations, why was that alteration? Why was it done? Who committed that error in altering that particular clauses? Because I know that once a law is passed and it's assented to, it has become law.
Yeah.
At that moment, as an expert, I will not be too much afraid about the law that I'm going to follow. Now, remember, I told you one of those strong components of any tax collection is the law, the tax law itself. Guys, I want to inform you, if you have a company today and you realize that what we need to do, all of us here, is to get a copy of the law that was passed, which was assented to by Mr. President. Once you have that, as a business person, you are good to go. If a tax person, a taxman, comes to your premises, for instance, the one you are talking about, like once there's an investigation, I think it's another level. It's not a direct issue now. It's another level that once a taxman give you an advice to pay taxes, you can object under the law, either the previous one or the new one. You can object and say, look, you asked me to pay 1 million. Normally, in tax payment, you have 30 days. So once you just get your advice, all you need to do within 30 days, please write to the tax agency that my taxes cannot be up to 1 million, so I'm objecting. Once you do that, you drop your letter with the tax agency. Okay? Once they get that letter, at that level, they will call you for a meeting. Both of you will sit down. Why is it not up to 1 million? These are the records that we use to be able to compute your taxes to be 1 million. It is at that moment, if both of you cannot agree, again, you go to the next level, which is the tax tribunal, tax appeal tribunal. It is at that level now that the issue of that alteration is now relevant. That in the law that Mr. President assented to, there wasn't any clause that says you must pay 20% of what you have been advised to pay, okay? But the alteration is now saying that, look, they say you have to pay 20%. At that moment, honestly, the court will bail you out. No person, no tax agency in Nigeria has that power to just impose on you laws that have not been approved.
You have that much faith in our institution?
No, of course, that has been what we've been doing. I've seen when I was on this job, because there's what we call best of judgment, that if you have business and I cannot be able to access your document, I can just assess you based on best of judgment. I will look at you, look at some of the few turnovers you have done based on the information that I've been able to gather. And I will say, Ajijololuwa and Co., you are to pay this government 500 million naira, and I will give you the paper. It is now left for you within 30 days to say, sir, I am objecting. Once you now say you are objecting, we'll call you for a meeting. Now, those papers that we have not been able to access, those data we have not been able to access, we'll ask you to provide. When you now provide, we'll now check it very well. We'll now address. At the end of the day, you may not be able to pay more than 5 million naira. You understand me? So that is, but if at the end of the day, we agreed, we look at this, and we say, look, you are going to pay 5 million, and you still insist, and you say, no, I will not pay. And we have found out that you have even evaded tax in the past. Your case will go to tax appeal tribunal. And that is why I'm saying that when it gets to, that's one of the alterations that people are trying to allude to, that look, it was not in the law that Mr. President signed that 20% should be paid. So I believe that's one. We can easily handle that. The law, as far as it is today, whatever Mr. President signed into law is the law. And if there is any alteration in the Gazette, honestly, the Gazette could be corrected. And that is what we need to continue to do, to ask the tax authorities, to ask the federal government to please give us the correct Gazette that is in tandem with what Mr. President has signed. But unfortunately, as of today,
because we
have not seen the Gazette.
We don't even have it.
We don't have it. So it's one of the problems we have in Nigeria, okay? And I tell you,
the opacity in running business, government business.
Is honestly, look, there's a department in charge of Gazette in the Federal Ministry of Information. Who is the person in charge? At what point? Even if it is only 2 issues that were altered, it should be condemned roundly. Nobody should condone that kind of inefficiency. And if there's a person in charge, it should be brought to book. It should be shifted away.
I think it's not just
right.
Inefficiency, it's criminality. Because that's when you touch the Nigerian law, it's a huge and a grave concern.
But Femi, it's not fair for us to say it's criminality. You know,
many lawyers have valued. I'm not saying that is what has happened.
Yes.
I'm only saying if it is established.
Except
if it's established.
Because most times,
that's what I'm saying.
Most times, these people working at these ministries, they commit some form of clerical blunders, as if they don't even understand.
But on this matter, that will not be clerical. You know, clerical errors are when you turn should to shall, may to might.
No, Femi.
But when, by the way,
Femi, let me clear this, and I will leave it.
Yeah.
You see, some of these guys working in the ministry, some of them they do cut and paste. I'm telling you
about the business of the state.
You see, at the point of transposing those things into a gazette, it might have done. You never know them. I know them. I'm telling you, some of them, honestly, they were not doing it to commit any crime. They thought they were doing the right thing, doing cut and paste. In an attempt to do cut and paste, you know how it is. And so about 5 supervisors ordinarily should go through it and check it. But some of them may not even.
At the ministry level, you mean
at the ministry
nobody
level.
did due diligence?
That is it.
And all of those things, but now.
That is what I mean by inefficiency.
That still speaks to the dignity
of
our the employment process and the oversight functions of all of this.
Of course.
And that still boils back to
haven't you heard about Mr. President appointing people into positions, and we find out that they are dead?
Dead people. Yeah.
Are you telling me somebody didn't read it? That is the kind of.
But then culpability must be returned to where it belongs. That means somebody is not doing
his work,
and the blame will still go to the administration because they have thousands of aides that should do this work.
All issues, all box. Stop.
Right. Let's come back to the. I mean, stay back here. There is that concern. Let me ask you, Dr. Ademikora. Does these laws, because these laws are for the Nigerian Tax Act, NTA, the Nigerian Tax Administration Act, NTAA, the Nigerian Revenue Service, and this is meant to establish the new Nigerian Revenue Service, which has come on board now. Almost all the front pages of the papers have, that particular advert of saying it's no more FRS.
No.
It's now
NRS,
Nigerian Revenue Service, and the Joint Revenue Board. Now, all of these laws and the taxman and the other guys, would they have access to people's account?
Yes and no.
Okay, let us into that, because that's one of the major concerns, that they can arbitrarily do and undo.
Yes and no.
Okay.
Yes, no, in the sense that no tax authority is empowered to go into your account. No tax authority in Nigeria, whether Nigerian Revenue Service or the State Internal Revenue Service, they are not empowered to go into your account. That's why I said no.
Okay.
But tax authorities could be compelled. When I say could be compelled, through the law courts to request for your bank statement. And
from you or from your bank?
From your bank. Once, what we normally do is you go to the court you ask for court that, look, you want to investigate, because investigation is part of the duties of any tax authority. Once you, for instance, you are known in the town, you own very big company, you are doing well, but we find out that what we have been paying every year is maybe about 100,000 naira in terms of corporate taxes. Okay? Once that is done, the tax authority, because there's always an investigation department in any tax authority agency, tax authority, what they can do is to go to court to seek that your bank statement should be produced. And once that is done at that moment, then they have every right to go through your account and see.
At what point does it get to that level? Because what we ordinarily say, you should speak to the person. Is it when the person being investigated is not cooperating, or the taxman can do that clandestinely without letting the person being investigated know?
No, that's why I said no. Because you cannot go into my account, for instance, and say that, look, I've gone to your account and I've realized that you have large turnover and you have not paid.
That cannot happen.
No, that is not.
So if a person is being investigated, the person will be aware.
He should be aware, because it is a process. A process in the fact that, look, there will even be a letter sent to you that in the past 6 years, we've realized that you have not been paying your taxes as and when due. Okay? Kindly provide your bank statement from so years to so years. The tax authority has the power to request for that. But if you now decide and say, look, I'm not paying, because under tax audit, when you want to do audit of a particular organization or a person, then the bank statement is very important for you to use. So if you now decide not to do that, then the tax authority will go to court and seek the court to compel you to produce it. And if you cannot produce it, then they will say the bank should give it to them. And that will be a matter of court to decide. So, but no tax authority will go directly to your bank account, because that is one of the problems we have now. So people say, no matter the kind of money they have in their bank accounts, and the tax authority will debit them and they will pay taxes on the balances. Is all a lie. This new tax reform is not addressing that. Not only that, some people, I read a few days ago, people were saying, when you want to send money to your friend, please watch out for the narration.
Yeah.
What has
been talking about narration, so that the taxman will know that this is for my children, this is for school fees, this is for in my neighborhood, this is contribution. You think all those, they don't matter?
Femi, how many policemen will come to your house every day to check whether one has beaten his or her wife? His wife or her husband? How many policemen will be knocking your door so I want to check? Nobody. What will only happen is, like, when your wife reports that you have beaten me, or the husband reports that the wife has beaten him, that the policeman will step in. Nobody is checking. You see, the problem we have in Nigeria on this issue of tax law, misinformation. It is too much. People misinform others. And you know, the social media, those who are creating content also, they want to drive traffic even to their site, and they write a lot of rubbish. Honestly, it is pure misinformation to say that when I want to send money to Femi, even if I want to send you 1 million naira today, why must I? No matter the kind of narration.
It comes from a place of people thinking, what you have just allayed now, that the government will have access, the taxman will have access to your account. And so they can arbitrarily remove anything that they think you are owing the government. So that's why they are thinking, how would the government know which one is for school fees of my children, or the upkeep of my business, or my dog, or my pet, and all of those things? That is why, you know, some of them are now saying, maybe you put a narration, so that whenever they get there behind you, they can know this is for this is for that.
Maybe the narration is for another agency, not for these tax reforms. NFIU, Nigerian Financial Intelligence Unit. As of today, they will ask banks, if you see any single deposit of, I think maybe 5 million naira and above, report it. Those are the people that checks your account, not the tax agent, not the tax authority. So people should not mix it together. The issue of money laundering, every country is fighting it because money laundering, most times they use it to perpetrate terrorism and the likes. So if that is not, those are the people that will check your account without you knowing, not the tax authority. So I remember I sent money to somebody some days ago, and the person was saying, he didn't even know because the name didn't show. Okay, what about that? Some people, you send money to them, even when you put narration there, it will not show. So who is now blaming anyone? Please, Nigerians, feel free to send money to your friends. Feel free to send money to your relatives. Nobody, as far as I know, and as far as this tax laws is concerned, it is pure misinformation to say that tax authorities will be coming to your bank account, will be checking which kind of money. They don't even have the capacity. If you employ 10,000 youths now or workers and say, be checking account every day, they will not even be able to do it. So nobody is going to do that. NFIU has already instructed banks. If you see any single deposit of so and so, and the issue of I think the BVN has helped the NFIU. Once they plug in the BVN, they know the total amount of money that you have transferred within in a day. Those are the people that will handle that, not for tax matters. So for tax matters, what you need to do is at the end of the year. In fact, remember that the taxes we are talking about, if this year you are going to assess yourself based on the taxes you're supposed to pay last year, it will be paid this year. If I make a deposit of 1 million naira into my account now, it will not even be a subject of tax until 2027.
The calculation of the payment, you are saying it will be annual.
It will be annual, except the personal income tax people who will be paying on monthly basis. Okay, the issue of corporate income tax is annual, so you are going to pay the taxes of 2025 in 2026. So whatever you do now, when they say it has taken effect, it doesn't mean that the money you are going to put in your account now will be taxed. No, it will only be subject to the nature of the form, because you are the one that will do your assessment. Please let us inform Nigerians also. We do our assessment on our own. The government is not coming to our account to do our assessment for us. When next year, 2027, whatever I might have done this year, I'm going to do a filing for myself next year. And you have up to March 31st this year as individual to do your filing for what you did last year, if you are a self-assessment taxpayer. But for those who are into personal income tax, then they will be paying their taxes every month.
All right, Doctor, I think that apart from the issue of misinformation and all of those, Nigerians are wary of a lot of things. When we come back from this break, we'll be talking about accountability and transparency. Dear viewers, stay with us.
Can you imagine the feeling when you get your news as they break with fact and clarity? How entertaining do you want your entertainment news?
There can only be one African queen!
What about sport?
What a touch from Welbeck!
Piece of improvisation. Instinctive thinking to help us.
Don't you want your sport analysis delivered by knowledgeable hosts? Top trending news served hot and juicy as the break. Western Spring Television, WSTV, your urban Yoruba channel for news.
Western Spring Television, ours it is.
back to the morning show, Morning Spring on Western Spring Television. Today we've been talking about the tax laws and the implementation date, which is today. And we have here Dr. Adewite Ademikora, who's speaking to us about the tax laws. All right, so before we went on that break, I was talking about accountability and transparency. The last time you were here, I asked the question about how some of the things Nigerians are wary of. We are in interesting times and age right here. And recently, the federal government wrote off the debt of NNPC. And the same thing was done for the federal government by the NNPC. That's being said, what about the fate of taxpayers there? Were they brought into consideration? And that's bringing us back to accountability, transparency. Accountability is being deliberately circumvented by this present administration. We're not getting enough. Nigerians feel that they are supposed to be privy to some information, especially as regarding their money, how it is spent, where, defaults are coming in, and all of those. Now we are here where we are. Tax is going to be paid again. How are their monies going to be used? Is it going to be a time where Nigerians are overtaxed and underserved? Or it's going to be about their revenue leakages again? Because what I wanted to say before was not revenue generation, but the leakage. So all of these things is not only about information, misinformation that Nigerians are wary of. They're wary of how their monies will be spent.
Thank you, Ajit. Let's look at it from let's look at it from this perspective. When you look at the demographic structure of taxpayers in Nigeria, you realize that quite about over 90%, in line with the data supplied by the Nigerian Revenue Service and the fiscal policy, over 90% are low-income payers. And these are the people that these tax reforms will benefit tremendously. The very few, the top echelon of those people who pay taxes, they are very few. And those are the ones that these tax reforms is going to seriously touched in a way. But they are the ones that will now induce the low-income earners to say, tell them we are not paying taxes. Tell them, how do they want to overtax us? Because look at what the law is saying about now. And we need to emphasize and establish that. If you are a low-income earner, for instance, are you going to suffer under these tax laws? If you are not going to suffer as a low-income earner, which I believe I belong to, then I don't have any cause even to be afraid of this new tax law. You've just spoken about transparency, accountability, and the rest. And I think it's a national issue. It's beyond the scope of the tax laws itself, because what the tax law is supposed to do is to watch the space. How are we going to do it? What are the best way of collecting taxes? And that's what the tax laws is talking about. When it gets to the issue of accountability, I remember when I was a chief executive of a particular state, we collect taxes and we give it to the government. How the government go about it is none of our business. It is now the business of the legislature to do their proper oversight function and make sure that, look, there's a budget. Look, if you look at the component of the budget, the budget is going to be financed by the internally generated revenue, by the federal allocation, by loans. If those things are properly implemented and implemented the way it should be, we shouldn't have problem. But if we say we are having problems in Nigeria in terms of accountability and the rest, honestly, the opposition should be very strong enough to help us. The legislature should help us and put Mr. President and the governors on their toes. Because most times our emphasis and our focus is always on federal government. What about the state governments? What about the local government officials too? They also, in one way or the other, are they accountable? How many times have you read the financial statement of your state? How many times have you critiqued the governor of your state? How many times have you critiqued the local government officials of your state? Most times, our emphasis is on the federal government. And so we need to educate our people in the states and at the local government level to please take up their government, to take up the government and let them be accountable to what they have collected from us and how they have been able to implement all those things. If they are able to do that, I think we'll fare better. And when you look at the leakages as well, I told you under these tax laws, it's going to address that leakages, because when you apply technology to collection, to administration of taxes, then definitely the efficiency of that collection will be very high. I remember in those days when we used to collect taxes manually, you see people, barricading the road, mounting checkpoints, and we'll be asking you, have you paid your taxes? Show us the evidence. I think we have gone past that level. So the level of technology in driving taxes collection should be increased. It should be revved up so that leakages will be reduced to the BRS minimum. And I think it's a new phase in our life, and we need to improve on it.
All right. There is this part. I have two questions for you. But then there is this part in which we are being told by the Tax Revenue Board and the federal government about the identification number, NIN, being used to generate tax IDs for people. We'll look into that shortly. But before that, in fact, there is a clip that has been made so that people can, just like you said, generate this tax ID and maybe calculate some of these things by yourself. But let's talk about the efficiency of the people that will run these things. Now, of course, we have the FRS before, and they are now their NRS. Now we want to widen the tax net to make it all encompassing. People pay, no overlapping of taxes and all of these prospects. That it comes with it, at least from the people that are proposing it. Do we have the technology? And I'm asking this because rolling out of policies in Nigeria is not the issue. It's when it's time to operate these things that get to see problems, and then they will tell you it's a teething problem. We overcome it, and people's lives and businesses will be affected, and people will be made to suffer. And then you wonder, when we are not ready, why did we bring all of these things? I'll give you an example with the IPPIS. You remember IPPIS? The payroll, whatever, that ASU had to find with, and some civil servants at the time. They said, if you're unlucky, that maybe your salary is skipped, you can be, you can be struggling to have the correction for like a year. I remember I even know personal persons that will say, you have to go to Abuja, policemen, some person, civil servant, and then you worry and do all of these things. Yet, by the time you are even done, you might have spent much more than whatever you're expecting, and it's just like that. It's not something that can be easily fixed. Do we have the technology? Because it has taken, I think this law was assented to in June or July. So the transition moment is like period is almost like 6 months. Are you sure we are ready to do all of these things so that when the operation starts, just like they are started now, some of those concerns will not be the reason why Nigerians will say, we said it. Nigeria will never change. You know what they usually say? Do you think we are ready and we have the efficiency? That is very key.
Oh, good. Thank you, Femi. The law was assented to on the 25th of June last year. And for the past 6 months, I think sensitization and other things have been going on. At the Nigerian Revenue Service level, they have good technology to manage these laws. The Tax Pro Max, that's the technology that the NRS have been using close to about 4 or 5 years now. It has been tested over time, and it has not failed. If you also remember, there are some states too. Most states today, they drive their collections by using technology, and they have been doing very well. I can say that of Lagos State. I can talk about Kwara State, Ondo State, Osun State, even Oyo State, and some other states too. In fact, Kaduna, go to Kano, they've been driving collections through technology. And, but you know, is there any technology tool that is foolproof? You have to say most fintech and all those companies will assure you that uptime will be about 99.9%. And so they've given you 0.1% also that it could be down. And ditto for banks, commercial banks that we have. Remember when banks first started the online banking, you want to collect your money, you have your account in Osogbo, you want to collect your money in Kaduna, then you have to wait and wait and wait. They will wait in Kano for them to send the mandate to them. But now it's live. They just plug in. And this is what we call ERP, Enterprise Resource Planning. It's a technology suite which every company is expected to deploy in their financial department that you are. In Western Spring, for instance, I expect that you will have ERP. And that ERP will now be plugged to the tax Promax, because that's another thing. So that when you want to do your e-filing, when you want to do filing, it's going to be electronic. There is no need for you to go to NRS again and be sending paper. That is what this law is emphasizing. So I want to believe the technology is there.
How about the human part?
Well,
because you're talking about civil service there.
Well,
you know our attitude to work.
Yes.
When somebody will have a complaint, come to an office and it will be like, you are disturbing me. You are here yesterday. That is that human problem. We can't shy away from that.
Femi.
And now because you are talking about many more persons coming into that net, will people have the efficiency to handle people and their complaints about money?
Well, the good news about the Nigeria Revenue Service is that they are autonomous. So those who are working there are not civil servants. And I tell you, I keep on saying it, every state that we succeed in managing, in administering, in a collection of taxes must be autonomous. Most of the states that we have today, only very few of them are autonomous. And when you look at, there's a research anyway, even in Nigeria, only those who are autonomous, the subnationals that have autonomous tax agencies are the ones doing well in Nigeria. For instance, I don't want to mention some states that are still not autonomous. Those who are not autonomous are still using civil servants to drive. And exactly what you have just said now is what obtains in those subnational internal revenue services. But as far as federal government is concerned, they're autonomous, and they finance their business by way of percentage given to them on collection. When you go to Abuja, is autonomous, Lagos is autonomous, Ondo is autonomous, Ekiti is autonomous, Kwara is autonomous, Kano is autonomous, Kaduna is autonomous.
Is Osun autonomous?
Osun is not autonomous. Okay. And that is why we kept on saying that, look, for you to get the best, that efficiency you are talking about cannot be guaranteed when your revenue service is not autonomous. So as at now, the Nigerian Revenue Service is autonomous, and I can assure you the efficiency is guaranteed, and they have been doing very, very well. So it's not a matter of saying there was a mistake, check it for me. They will not be saying, no, I don't have time. All those, no, that kind of culture is not obtainable in the Nigerian Revenue Service. And all those states too that have autonomous revenue services, I can assure you, because they pay them better than civil servants. They go for training. So the attitude
to work is better.
It's better.
Because now you are going to be having so much persons coming into that particular threshold.
Yes.
And of course, there will be complaints that needs to be had because it's about money. But quickly, let me add this before Topper comes in now. Is the issue of, now you have said there are some people threshold of income that are exempted.
Yes.
Now, for a welder, that you might say is an informal sector, but there are many of them who make very good money. How will I just need to us to give us like 3 categories of businesses and how they will handle their business, because it's not all welder that just in front of house welding, port, and all of those things. There are big time welders, and they are not part of the corporate structure. They are informal. So how about those persons? How about the market woman in Orisun Barry that has a turnover of millions? How would that person be, in this particular tax bracket?
Okay, I will take you back to what I said earlier, that we have every tax agencies has what to call tax audit department.
Okay.
The tax audit department, they are like policemen.
Okay.
They are like CID personnel. They go about town. They watch your business. You may not know, and they know that you are doing so well. If they find
like an intelligence unit.
That's it. That's what tax audits do. Okay. Once they are able to get information, they gather information about your business, though we think you belong to the informal sector, okay? But they've gathered information about you, and they realize that they checked their books, and they find out that, look, Femi Ojo, a very prominent welder, is not paying taxes, and they know through the intelligence they've gathered. It's everywhere. The police, the army, they have intelligence unit. Even most times, even in the journalistic profession too, we say you do investigative journalism. That how did you know? It will surprise people when you come out and say so person has about 20 houses. That's what. So the same thing happens in the tax authorities too. So once they investigate, once they know that you are strong economically and you do good turnover, they will send you an advice, which I mentioned about as per best of judgment. So it's now left for you to come forward and defend what they have given you. But I want to assure you, in this law, like I said, if you are a business owner, you are the one that will assess yourself. And I've said it, that you have to assess yourself honestly. Now, what you need to do, there are some businesses that have been exempted from paying taxes. The weather, the vulcanizer you are talking, or maybe vulcanizer, there are weathers and there are weathers. Yeah. There are weathers that even when you see them, you know they are not making money. So what the law says is that once you are not making more than income of 1.2 million in a year, it's different from the personal income tax that we spoke about, 800,000 naira exempted. If you are not making more than 1.2 million naira in a year, maybe you are selling pepper, maybe you are selling this, maybe you sell textile, and it's a small business, you are exempted from paying taxes. And this is what we need to keep on mentioning. We need to keep sending it into the ears of those business or small business owners. That look, if you are not making more than 1.2 million naira in a year, you are exempted from paying taxes. Because at the end of the year, if you are a good citizen of Nigeria, normally you should do what we call filing, returns. What you just to do is just to get the paper right there. I make total income of 1 million naira, hence no taxes. And you'll be clear, because you may need tax clearance tomorrow. If you are the type that, cares for tax clearances, you think you want to use tax, just do your filing. Write it there that I am a peasant farmer. I'm a trader. I trade in farming tools, and I make total income of 900,000 a year. Such people will be exempted from tax. And why? Because you know that from the income, or there are so many expenses that you will bear. Transportation, fueling, if you have generator or whatever. So for those set of people, they will not pay taxes if they make less than 1 million naira. But for those who are heavy and they are trying to pretend, they themselves, they know that they are heavy, but they are pretending. The tax audit department of the state agencies or the Nigerian Revenue Service will get them out. And if they get them out, honestly, they will be investigated, and they may need to pay taxes for the past 6 years that they have been evading.
All right, I'd like to ask, now that the tax laws are in effect from today, what roles does the National Assembly, retain in the enforcement of, regulating the tax laws?
Well, not only in the tax laws alone, all the laws and all the activities of government agencies. The Nigerian, the legislature, be it at the state level or at the federal level, they have this oversight function. And they are supposed to be the watchdog. They're supposed to be the vanguard of the society. Whenever there are issues raised by any member of the society, they are in the best position to take it up with the Nigerian Revenue Service or the state tax agencies. And they have that power to do that. They have the power to summon the head of the agency at any time, ask him questions on why this and this and this are happening. And if there are cogent reasons why those things are being done, then the Nigerian legislature will be able to defend the government position. But if the reasons are not acceptable, then they will instruct the tax agencies to do the necessary corrections. And I think in their position, they are the ones that will guide the society on what to do in order for us to maintain law and order within the economic ecosystem of Nigeria.
All right. Now, let's talk about, these tax ID and what they are. I think there is a clip that we need to see. And this is from us, consider it New Year gift. And of course, our own corporate social responsibility to these national conversations.
Here is how to retrieve your tax ID with your NIN as an individual. Firstly, make your NIN number available. Now go to your browser, type taxid.jrb.gov.ng or taxid.nrs.gov.ng to visit the official website, and you will be landed here. To retrieve individual tax ID, come here and select Individual. Under the Tax ID retrieval method, choose your preferred method. For this tutorial, I will be choosing National Identification Number, NIN. Then, enter your National Identification Number, NIN. Scroll down and then click on Retrieve Tax ID. Now, you will be required to verify your identity by inputting your first name, your last name, and your date of birth. Please make sure the first name, last name, and date of birth matches the one on your NIN. Then, click here to declare that the data submitted should be used for identity verification purpose, and click Submit. Then, boom! Your NIN will be verified and your tax ID shall display on the page. It is very easy and simple. So every income earner or taxable person is required to retrieve his or her tax ID to stay compliant.
All right. I guess Mr. Taiwo Edele should expect some invoice from us. That just happened right now. But then, why do we need this? Why does anybody need it?
The tax ID?
Yeah.
What's
the function?
The tax ID is for the administration of taxes. It's needed for administration of taxes. It is not for the taxpayer per se.
Okay.
It's for the administrator. Because with the tax ID now, it is easier for us to be able to identify you as a taxpayer and to be able to monitor some of the your payments, to track how you have been paying, and for us to gather information about you. It's just like when you admit students to school and you give them ID. The ID is not per se for the student, it's for the administrator, because when you see the ID card on him or her, when he wears it or she wears it, you know that this is a student.
So does that mean I can choose to do this and I can choose not to do it?
If for instance, if you are of age, you want to pay taxes, then how do you pay? Without tax ID. If you are gone to the driving school and you know how to drive, and you are saying, so I can continue to drive without the driver's license, then that means you are not empowered. So with the driver license, the people on the road will be able to identify you as a recognized and as an approved person to drive on the road. So with the tax ID, then you have been given a tag that yes, you are qualified to pay taxes. And because taxes is not a year thing, it's a continuous exercise. You want to do a tax clearance. How will I be able to identify the taxes that you have paid in the past? The tax ID will be used to gather those payments, to track those payments, and to print out unnecessary information.
Because someone will see that and say, I'd rather leave this because I don't want somebody to now start investigating and vetting me, or, you know, don't let me put myself in trouble and all of those. And there is another information that automatically, once NIN becomes his tax ID, I need you to explain that.
No, what they have done is the NIN that, in fact, before now, people kept on asking questions. It has been known for like 10 years that it's only in Nigeria you have a voter's card, you have driver's license, you have international passport,
BVN.
you have BVN, you have NIN. We have 5. Only one should be enough to take care of all those things. In fact, in future, I'm not trying to preempt the government, but I want, as somebody who has pre-information about what's going to go on, NIN sooner than later will be used for all operations in Nigeria. We are talking about voters. We are saying voters abroad. I mean, citizens abroad should vote. Why would they vote? They don't need the ID card, the voter's card for that. NIN alone will be able to do that. So what they are trying to do is to harmonize all the identification papers that we have in Nigeria. And so with the NIN now, NIN has integrated some of these IDs together, so that by the time you punch in your NIN, it has been attached. It's more like what we call an algorithm in technology. It has been attached that once you just impute your NIN, then definitely your tax ID will fly out. The same way, if you have NIN in the banking sector, your BVN will fly out. If you put BVN, NIN can be retrieved. All those means of identifications have been integrated, which is quite, you know, in the international passport now, you have NIN. So if you want to renew your passport or you want to obtain a new one, NIN is important for you. So NIN is very, very important, and that is why it's being used to retrieve the tax ID. So the tax ID is just a working tool for the administrator. And if you say, oh, I don't want to worry myself, it's even embedded. There is no way you will pay tax now, and you will not be asked to submit your tax ID. So what the system has done is to configure the tax ID as the first layer of the information that you will submit when you want to pay your taxes. So tax ID is one of the working tools of tax agencies, and I think it's good for us. It makes tax administration easier, efficient, and for administrators to be able to know what is going on about you.
All right, for the exigency of time, Dr. Ademikora, let's have your final take on the issue of the tax laws, the implementation, and what Nigerians are to expect in the, in the course of the implementation of the tax laws.
Now, let me before I will round up, let me quickly say, I've said it here before, or probably on radio, that look, there are certain things that we taxpayers we should be ready, or we should be happy to know. We should read and we should internalize them. Take, for instance, I said it sometimes ago, I was in a filling station. I wanted to buy fuel, and the guy was asking, I wanted to buy 10,000 naira worth of fuel. And when I checked the POS, she has imputed 10,100. I said, why? He said, 100 naira is for the charge. I said, no. You see, in Nigeria as of today, POS being used by the filling stations are not supposed to carry any charges. That has been on for the past 3 or 4 years. But unfortunately, because our filling stations too, they do not process their POS from the right channel. They go to just wrong channel. And those wrong channels will just impute charges there. They now want to recoup those charges from us. Please, any filling stations are not exempted and are exempted from putting charges on what you pay. Number 2, the electronic levy that is being charged on a transfer. As of today, please do not let anybody deceive us. These are some of the misinformation.
Yeah.
only sender now under this law, which is taking effect from today, only the sender will pay charges. The receiver will not pay charges anymore. It's no more electronic money levy. It's now stamp duty. The name has changed and the process has changed. You know, before, if you want to collect money from these POS people, they will now say, you do a transfer. You now put 50,000 naira, 15 naira on it. It's no more possible. It's no more right. It's not right again. Because it's you that is transferring money that will pay the 15 naira. And when you are transferring money that is below 10,000 naira, I mean, that's for below 10,000 naira, that's when you will not pay that 15 naira. And when you are transferring money from your account in bank A to bank B, the same name, the same BVN. That's why this NIN is very important, because NIN will show that, yes, it's the same person. You are not going to pay stamp duty of 15 naira or all those. So we need to understand all those little things. And I tell you, one of the problems we have in Africa, not in Nigeria, is that when you want to hide information from a black man, put it in a book, because he will not read. And I tell you, Femi, if you see how many times we have sat in the studio, sensitizing people, informing them, we should have done that for many other things. Well, but because the level of misinformation is so high in Nigeria, and an average citizen of Nigeria too is not even ready to open books and read. But we thank God for Western Spring Television. We thank God for the radio arm of our TV, Rave FM. We have done so well, because I've been part of the exercise. We have done so well for this country. We have done so well for Osun State and Nigeria. And I think the Fiscal Policy Committee will be happy to see what we are doing here. Let us assure our people that this tax reform is not here to kill taxpayers. It's even of tremendous benefit to those who are not on the top echelon of tax paying ladder. Thank you very much, everyone.
Dr. Adigbite Ademikran, for your time and your take, and for explaining to Nigerians. And if actually there are concerns and complaints, I'm sure Nigerians know where to channel it. And I hope these NRS, they will have their offices available at least in every state.
Of course, yes. So mostly in every local government.
Because now when it has to do with money, people are very much concerned.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, thank you very much, dear Nigerians. Thank you for joining us today on the penultimate installment for the week and the first for the year.
Yeah.
My name is Temitope Ajijola Oluola.
All right, and of course, big shout out to everyone. Happy New Year once more. It's 2026. Let's go prosper. Oh, that reminds me, we have two of our people celebrating their birthday today. You know, one of us, Okwemuni, popularly called Jamaica, and of course the Chief Executive Officer of Rave 91.7 FM and Western Spring Television, Dr. Femi Adefila's birthday is today. So we're celebrating, and everyone celebrating today. And of course, oh gosh, you know, this greeting will come with implications, and you better be ready. That's the way it works. Femi Ojesmane, we'll see you tomorrow. Happy New Year.